Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Running Shorts presented by Accelerate with Stu Hale and myself, Harvey Martin. We've got a very cool interview with Hazel and Leanne from Woodrun coming up.
It was hilarious.
It was
really good.
It's worth a listen. And then we've just had a new brand land in the shop, which is 361.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got one shoe from them. We've got it in wide as well, which is quite cool.
Yep.
So this is the Centauri for those who can see it at the minute on YouTube. It's their kind of everyday mileage shoe. It looks really well cushioned. I had a pair of their Spire, which is a slightly more cushioned shoe. I really like them. They just kind of straight away on your foot, felt really comfy. They use a P-Bax midsole.
Yep.
So they were really durable. The upper's kind of nice and breathable. Yeah, they're just a good all-rounder. They feel quite wide, fit in the forefoot, which is nice. I've put a pair on my feet, and the fit. I like the fit, even for my weird feet. As you say, P-Bax. That's kind of the stuff that looks like polystyrene cups. If you're wondering what we're on about, and the technology around that material as the midsole's getting better and better. And these are, you can feel the pushback, the responsiveness, the cushioning in the shoe, and they're probably one of the firmer ones out there at the moment as a general day-to-day road shoe. Yeah. The advantages of P-Bax as a midsole is it will actually, the life of the actual resilience, the cushioning is extended beyond that of traditional midsoles. I personally prefer the traditional midsole feel. That's back to me being an old man again, isn't it? Yeah.
But then I don't know. Would I like it if I was younger? I honestly don't know. But anyway, the cushioning's definitely high, and when people have brought them in and the soles have worn out, that you can actually still see there's cushioning in the shoe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what you would normally get with a traditional midsole material, it kind of holds its cushioning, drops initially by about 20%. That's even with the oversized traditional foam shoes, and then it kind of falls off a cliff. With the P-Bax, that you don't get the fall off the cliff.
Yeah, well, like the Saucony Endorphin Speed, for instance, has the same midsole.
Yes.
And I know Matt has done an insane amount of miles in a pair he had, and they just kept going and didn't die. Yeah, and he was thinking he should change them, but just kept running in them.
Yes. So the life of the shoe really is down very much to the user. So if you say doing 15 miles a week, we definitely won't see you for at least a year for another pair. And they're actually, for a P-Bax shoe, they're not that expensive, are they?
No, these come in at $120.
Yeah, which is very, very reasonable. And for the vast majority of people, there's a terrific amount of actually underfoot cushioning there.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about the shoe is on the medial side, that's the inside of the shoe, you can see the stack here, because you sit in it slightly. There's kind of a little bit of a flaring here, so it will just make a more stable platform for the shoe. And looking at the front as well, it looks like it's balanced as opposed to one side being higher than the other, so that's a good thing. Upper, nice knit, open, mesh, so again that will just increase breathability through the shoe, and hopefully aid people's comfort. A nice soft heel counter, so heel cup into a tab that will pull up, and that's really soft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you find that?
I found them really comfy, just kind of straight away on your foot. There wasn't any harsh spots. Sometimes I feel the heel cup, so the top of it, but I didn't notice it in these. I did use the lace lock because it felt quite big.
Yeah.
But kind of
well, you've got skinny little feet anyway.
I have to do that in most shoes. But yeah, no, they're just comfy on your foot, kind of straight out the box, putting them on.
It's also, you don't always see it at this price point, it's a one-piece knitted upper.
Yeah.
So the reduction of seams as well, which is great. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what people think of these, but I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think we're the first in Sheffield with these, aren't we?
Yes, I think for most of South Yorkshire. But
wow.
If you want to come give them a test, we've got a try and run on the 8th of May. So Coronation Monday. 9:30 from the shop, and we're doing a nice 8k to come give them a go.
Yeah.
So if you want to try a new shoe or just get away from your family after been with them all weekend.
Wow.
Love you, Mum. And come
Glad you got that in.
Yeah. I think that takes us nicely onto this week's interview.
It does.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Running Shorts with Accelerate. We've got two pretty cool guests on, so if you want to introduce yourselves so people know your voices.
I'm Hazel, I help with Woodrun on a Thursday.
And I'm Leanne, and I help with Woodrun on a Thursday.
And then we've also got Stu here.
Hi!
So you said you help with Woodrun, but
Yes.
if we go before that, why'd you run? How'd you get into running? It's probably a good...
For me, it started out as, the first 2 miles started out as a bit of a weight loss journey, and the 2 miles turned into 4 miles, the 4 miles turned into 6 miles, and the 6 miles turned into 8 miles, and etc, etc, and I didn't really care about the weight anymore. It just became about the running, and achieving.
And why do you keep running now? Are you addicted, is it?
I would say probably yes. I would say that I feel miserable if I don't. So it's very much about mental health and commitment and sense of achievement, really. Being able to achieve things I never thought I could. So that's, for me, and also it's just the mind, how your mind feels when you're out, running a hard run, and you get that feeling when you get home. That's addictive. So yes, it's for me.
Me, I started like a lot of people with a race for life when I lived in Edinburgh. A friend's brother-in-law had cancer, so we did some fundraising for that. And it was a grim race because at that time the race for life went kind of up Arthur's Seat and back round. So it wasn't like a nice flat 5k. I've never liked hills and I still don't. I think it took me about 38 minutes to do a 5k.
But you live halfway up a hill.
I know I live halfway. It was a bit of a challenge down at Sheffield. So, and from then I just started running with a friend in Edinburgh, and we would drop the kids at school, do a 3 mile run, finish at a cafe and get a bus home, which was perfect. And then when I came to Sheffield and got in tow with sort of Doc Kesterton, Helen Willett, Kate Morris, we started a little running group called Smiley Paces, where we basically met at school gate and ran from Endcliffe Park to Forge Dam and back and had coffee, and we just kind of started doing more and more things from there. So, and I still hate running up hills.
We'll do it for coffee.
We'll do it for coffee.
Depends on the
It's
cafe.
favourite distance, car to cafe.
I've never thought of looking at runs that way. It's a distance to a cafe.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Car to cafe.
Yeah, how far are we running? Car to cafe.
Car to
How
cafe.
far are we running?
Car to
Garden
cafe.
Centre Cafe.
It's got to be a good
Absolutely.
cafe.
Yeah.
How far are we running? Riverling Cafe. 100 yards. Fab. And downhill. Win-win.
Absolutely.
Walking warm up as well. Don't forget your walking warm up.
Yeah,
Almost there.
right, that's good.
You were right. Great run, guys.
That's the end of today's coach session, and we'll live.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes nicely, Hazel, if you moved to Sheffield, how did you get involved with Accelerate, with Stu, organising the groups?
When I started running with Kate, when we started the Smileys, Kate was about to run, I think, her first London marathon, and she injured herself, and she came down here and happened to be hobbling around the shop. And Stuart said, "Oh, you've got an injury." And she said, "Yeah, well, ignoring it because I've got to run London in a fortnight." He said, "Well, get those shoes off, put these shoes on." And so after he sorted Kate out and she sort of successfully ran her marathon, we just started coming down here to buy kit and get advice. And Stuart and Deb set up a morning run for us. We used to come down and do a breakfast run.
We did, didn't we? It was
And
good fun.
we just-
Was it Thursdays?
I can't remember what it was. It was one morning. We kind of came down here. We ran around. We came back and we ate cake and drank coffees and things. And Stuart and the team put on sort of 10k, how to run a 10k evenings, or when we started going to things like Sheffield Way Relay, how to run 10 miles without dying and all that kind of nonsense. And that's how we got involved with Accelerate and Stu and Debs, and it's just kind of carried on from there, really, hasn't it? We've just got more and more involved with different things that the community are doing.
It's good fun.
And it's good fun, yes. So that was how I got involved with Accelerate.
Well, my sister worked in the shop. She is what I describe as a mountain goat. She just never stops. And she was encouraging me to go to the Woodrun, because at the time, and still is, the Woodrun was all about form and technique and how to make running easier, ran by Stuart at the time. and she talked me into going to the Woodrun, and that was my first introduction to Accelerate, was the Woodrun.
I think it takes us quite nicely onto a story about your first Woodrun.
It certainly
We'll
does.
probably describe Woodrun quite nicely as well.
Okay, the first time I suffer majorly with imposter syndrome anyway, and she taught me to go, and it took me weeks to find the courage to go to this technique, and sort of not really knowing what to expect when I got there.
She should have described it as Ministry of Silly Walks.
Ministry of Silly Walks, and I would have been fine. But she taught me into going. It took me weeks to build up the courage, so I went along one day and met the lovely team there. And I remember thinking, I shouldn't be here. Oh, what are they going to make me do? What are they going to make me do? And we're actually running now. How long are we going to be running for? I don't know. Is it going to be uphill, downhill? I don't know. Didn't think I should have been there at all. And I thought to myself, and at the time we were actually doing an uphill running technique session with Stuart. Stuart was doing the coaching. And I was stood in a lovely group, and I just thought to myself, just stick with the older people. Just stick with the older ladies and I'll be absolutely fine. Surely I can do what they can do, so I stuck with the older ladies. And I remember Stuart, gave us some technique advice, and obviously he said, right, okay, who wants to go first? And one of the lovely older ladies put a hand up and said, oh, I'll go first. And she ran up this hill like a bat out of hell. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And I just stood there. I remember having to pick my jaw up off the floor, and I thought, oh my gosh, if that's what the older ladies can do, what can the younger people do? Anyway, that older lady turned out to be Doc Kesterton, who I believe you've met in the previous podcast, who was now like a gold medal winner, and so, but at the time I didn't know that. And so she scared the living daylights out of me. But I continued to go to the Woodrun ever since. Mm-hmm. So it was because it was really helpful and really useful, and made running easier. It did what it said on the tin. So why would you not?
Anyway, I guess kind of a bit of Stu as well. What is Woodrun for people who don't know? You've touched on it briefly with Ministry of Silly Walks and
very
Run
interesting
technique,
history.
but does it?
Yeah.
Kind of great to see where it started and where you've led it to now, because it's definitely become your baby as well.
Oh gosh, it's virtually nothing to do with me anymore, which in a way is it's good, because I think that's testament to you guys.
The Woodrunners think that as well.
They're also pretty. I think there's quite a. It used to be the case when I used to turn up, and they sort of like, oh god, it's Stuart. Oh no, he's nothing. He's easier than Leanne and Hazel. It's fine. It's just kind of gone full circle. Well, Debs was, I think, talking about the instigation of the run routes, and the city council setting those up, and that was probably about a year or so before all that eventually came to fruition.
Is it a bit of a tangent? Debs designed all of the run routes around Sheffield, so all the little signs with the footprint you see. That's all Debs' handiwork.
Yeah, that's all Debs. And she said, look, they'd like to get something else going down at Woodrun apart from Ecclesall Woods and the Discovery Centre apart from a walk. And so the guy who runs it, John Dallas, still does, said to Debs, could you accelerate, do something down here, because what you do from the shop? And she said, yeah, we can do that. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, we're going to do something completely different. I said, there's so many groups setting up running.
Who are just running.
Running. So I said, we need to do something different. And I was also starting to do a little bit of work with England Athletics, and working with the regional development officer at the time, Emma. And it was suggested that one of the things that was lacking was what was being covered on the courses. Well, what does a session look like? What should be involved in the session? What England Athletics talk about is fundamentals. So I literally just led this first run with Colin, who's a podiatrist here. We just went around. I had people doing some drills. We did sort of like one leg standing from benches, and just to gauge some reaction. And over half the group said, we'll be here next week if you're doing this, because this is just completely different. Yeah. So it just went over completely to effectively a technique session. And then from that was really then the first real footsteps in developing these groups that we've got today.
Yeah.
And just trying to think ahead, well, where are we going with this? What are we going to do? And Debs and I were talking about it. We said, well, what we need to do is bring other people on, so you don't have to do all the coaching. Get other people coaching, but get it to a higher standard.
that you would perhaps ordinarily see, but get the foundation and fundamentals across. And Woodrun was the first time we'd done that. And as you know, we ended up with Austin, Colin. Simon was, well, he's obviously looking after running past 50 now. Sarah.
Yeah, and the Woods guy, the guy that worked
with
Jack
as well.
Beardy Jack.
Quite it's like a step back in years, isn't it? And then we do specials with the kids and the summer holidays and Easters and things. And then we just gradually got to a point more and more. I was just trying to quietly shove it people's way and step back more.
And Margot as well.
And Margot, Well, Margot also helped me with some England athletic stuff with Striders, amongst others. And eventually, obviously, you guys took over. And now it's evolved again, hasn't it? Because you don't just do technique, you're doing other stuff as well.
It's less drill based now, I think. I think when we started, right back at the beginning, most of the time would be doing drills or plyometrics or what have you. I think we've got a bit more on the actual running technique itself. So we do the drills, we do the warm up, we do some drills that are appropriate to whatever technique, whether we're doing uphill or downhill or speed, don't we? So we do more sort of focused sessions like that. So
so I became a little bit obsessed with form and technique because I used to suffer a little bit. But I had a lot of injuries that used to niggle me and bother me, and
which consequently bothered us, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely bothered everybody when I got injuries. For me, it became about form and technique was a way of avoiding injury. So I became a little bit obsessed with it. And having somebody like Stuart with a watchful eye over you, and for 3 years he was trying to tell me I got a weaker hamstring on my left hand side, and I was like,
what does he know?
Knows nothing.
And actually, I started getting a pain in my hip, and all of it was because I had the watchful eye of a coach. And so it became about strengthening that side. I didn't know I had a dip on one side, which was where all the problems were. And it just became about form and technique. And so the Woodrun, I am a mirror, effectively. So we do drills, but all the drills lean towards technique. When you're running, it's all about foot placement, where your arms are, where your posture is. It's about working on your core. It's about doing everything all rolled into one, and then teaching people to have the confidence to run downhills, giving people the confidence and to control the levels of power when they're running uphill, and to make sure they've got correct form and technique running uphill. And it's just about injury avoidance. And the cherry on the cake, I find now, is so these people willingly turn up every week, and we work them quite as hard as they want to work. If they want to work really hard, they work really hard. If they don't, they don't. But they have the potential to work really hard. And seeing people proud and how their run has developed, we have some people that come to us and you can see 1,000 technique issues, and if they corrected those issues, they find running far easier and they'd be much better at it. And more recently we've had one girl come, and her whole technique of running is incredible. And the icing on the cake is when they turn around to you after you've improved their technique, and they're all saying to you, "Oh, my running's so much easier now." And they're coming to you and they're saying they've just beaten their 10-year PB they had 10 years before that they'd not been able to beat for 10 years. They'd just taken 2 minutes off it, in a 10K. Or one girl came up and said, I've knocked 30 seconds off my park run time. And that to me is just yes, because that you've helped them anyway. So that's why I can't remember what the question was, to be honest. Sorry. But it became quite important, and we work really hard, don't we?
I think we do.
To help people.
And we've got a really good mixed group, I think, on a Thursday now, and a fairly sort of solid core of people that come.
And people do drop in and drop out, don't they?
They do.
Because of work or families, and that's okay.
And it doesn't matter if you miss a week. No. It's not, it's not you have to come this week because it leads on to next week. Because they're all sort of standalone sessions, really.
Yeah, we rotate, don't we?
But we rotate.
We'll do an uphill session or a downhill session, or just a
speed
drill
session
or a speed session, and we normally end up with some sort of session, either a pyramid or we'll end up doing some sort of session, so everybody feels like they don't have to go for a run afterwards. They all feel like they've worked hard enough, which is
they've been there.
is good.
Yeah. It is a good group and a
Is
nice
it quite a big
varied
group
group.
nowadays? Have you got a lot of people coming in? You
Yeah.
obviously said it's a big split of...
Yeah,
And there were
it's-
18 of us on Thursday, weren't there?
yeah.
So, it was four of us leaders, so you and me and Christine and Richard, kind of just keeping an eye on people's form and what have they.
It's normally towards 20
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
get every week.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's probably 10 or 12 people that are, the core that come every week without fail, come rain or shine. And then we get different people that can fit it in and around the life,
Yeah.
really.
And is there a prerequisite, a bit like yourself, I imagine some people are nervous of coming to something like this where it's running technique and I imagine they envisaged everyone running really well. Is there a bracket you want to see, or is it open to everyone?
It's absolutely open to everybody, isn't it? We've
Anybody
got so
in there,
many
everybody.
different, and
Yeah.
everybody works to their own ability. And the more you come, the more you realise people's restrictions. It might be that they've got a bad knee. It might be just that they're particularly stiff, or you get to learn and know people. But it is absolutely all abilities.
It's not about speed or distance.
No.
It's not, you can't come because you can't run 5k in half an hour. There's none of that nonsense. Nobody cares about the speed you're running at
No.
or the distance you kind of run generally. It's just about improving how you do what you do.
Yeah,
However,
exactly.
however short, fast,
Yeah.
whatever.
It was always the way we wanted it to
Yeah,
be. It's just
yeah.
that. Well, it's that. I'd like to think that's the same across all the groups, really.
Yeah. It's
Well,
not
yeah,
about. It's not just about speed.
And it doesn't matter how fast somebody can run. It doesn't mean to say they can skip.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It does not mean they,
Yeah.
I've seen some of the fastest, strongest runners in the world and completely fall apart
Yeah.
doing a playground skip. So it doesn't,
I love it when you say, "Can you?" Right arm goes forward, left arm goes reverse, and they just what? And you're sort of thinking, look, you run down the steepest hills and fells, jumping over all of this stuff, which is actually massive coordination. You can't do that with your arms. Wow, but they get there.
Exactly.
It's every time.
Hopscotch. Nobody can do hopscotch when they start, can they?
No, and it's lovely.
I've still
We have
got people in the performance group that still can't do hopscotch, so I won't worry about it.
But the important thing is that whatever anybody achieves or does or doesn't do that day, everything's done with a smile. It's all done with warmth, and that's, we're like a little family in the woods every Thursday.
We are,
aren't we?
yes. And it's
Probably
coffee
a good
and
time.
cakes and things after.
Where do you meet?
Hang on, just before you do that, I think an ethos that I've always tried to have, we can never do anything wrong, we can only do it better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it
we've
doesn't
got
matter
a
if
new
we do it
A
wrong.
new one.
We've got a new
Oh,
one.
Go on then, go on.
Practice makes permanent.
Oh,
Practice makes permanent.
yeah, I like that.
So it's bad habits are out the window, and
we have the
new
bands
habits
and
are in,
doom.
and people have homework to go away. So concentrate on not
Crikey.
running with your
Yeah.
arms straight. That's all I want you to do this week. So yeah, we practice makes permanent. Arms straight at the back.
Yeah.
Bands come out. The bands, those bands.
yeah, rubber bands.
They were called the bands of doom,
Yeah,
but that
we've
upset
changed
people.
it, yeah, we've
Bands
changed.
of education, they're called.
We still have the hill.
bands of
Haven't been for a little while, so I've not been. Well, I have.
We
but
still
I've-
go to the Hill of Doom.
We've still got the Hill of Doom.
But we
so-
also go to Damon Hill. That's
Yeah.
a slightly less aggressive
Yeah.
hill than the Hill
I
of
hate
Doom.
that hill. That's why I got named the Hill of Doom.
Well, the Hill of Doom is the one that Dot ran up.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
some people just sort of seem to like, what's that all about? And it's just that one hill in those woods. I just hate it.
It just goes on a bit.
It's
doesn't
I think it's because you get to the bend thinking you're at the top and you realise you're
I
not.
think it's,
Yeah.
it's like
It gets
concave,
steeper.
convex, and up again.
Yeah,
It's horrid.
yeah,
It's horrid.
It's one of our faves for.
That's why I coach on it and stand on the bottom.
Yeah,
I stand at the top and cheer folk up.
And that's why I said any girl but love cheers. That's why I wasn't doing it. But the other thing I like about what you guys are doing as well, it's like the money you raise, it's a couple of quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the same with the other groups. We actually put that money back into,
Into the woods.
Yeah.
so putting it back into the woods. We save a bit. So I insist that you use some of that money with obviously kit that we can't scrounge from the brands
Yeah.
to make sure you're all looking smart and you're comfortable as well, because you can
Yeah.
get chilly when you're
Yeah,
coaching.
absolutely.
But also, obviously, we're using it and looking out for people who are already involved in us to put them on the courses,
Yeah,
whether it's run leading or into the coaching program. And it's also, I think, it's like, you know, you look where you started, I could never do that, and I could never do this coaching stuff.
Yeah.
And here you are, you're actually doing it. And
Yeah.
Sarah's another one with running past 50, and obviously she's been at Woodrun. I can't do that, I can't coach. Actually,
And she's
you're
great
all
at it.
amazing.
Well, the funniest thing,
It's just great.
the greatest thing was I went and did the coaching course with England Athletics, and I am officially a coach. But there was nothing on that course I didn't already know, taught by you at the Woodrun.
Which
all
is really
the
good to
drills
hear.
and technique and all of that information. But it was already ingrained in me from going to the Woodrun with you for so many years. So it was really interesting doing the course, and don't get me wrong, I'd still learnt an awful
You still should
amount.
do. There's still stuff. Another
Absolutely,
opinion.
but the amount of stuff that I already knew was phenomenal, actually, just from doing it.
Yeah,
So,
but we take that
Yeah.
because you go through so many years of doing it. I think you take it for granted, and I can't do the curve course. Yes, you can. You already done most of it. I can't have done. You have.
Yeah.
You're doing it,
yeah,
and then you go and do it. And you go, I have done most of this. You're right, but maybe I'm just being now shown it in another way or another order, or
Yeah.
there's some processes that we hadn't thought about being added in.
yeah.
And then we talk to other coaches, and it's like your rubber bands. We come back with new ideas, and so I can try that and see what happens.
The most overwhelming one was when we had another coach came to the Woodrun, and he was very long in the tooth coach, and doing it for years, and he actually walked away having learnt something, and that for me was a bit of a
He was
moment. That was
IAAF qualified, IAAF qualified as well, so international standard.
But he went away having learnt something, and I was a bit like, oh yeah,
Job done.
nice. Proud moment.
I think that the highlights was Stu with our group. Like, we're quite a small performance group, and you have to use different techniques on all of us.
Yeah.
And you learn stuff when you try it, which,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, because the truth is, you don't know, does it work for you or not?
Yeah. And it's also with a diverse group like we have at Woodrun, it's the different cues you use,
Yes.
specific cues for getting people to keep their arms in the right position and their heads up, and you can't say the same thing to each person. You
No.
need to vary it quite
Yeah,
widely.
because
I
everything,
think.
isn't it? Stop thinking about it, just run.
Just
What?
do
Just
it.
run!
Yeah.
And then run. There you go.
Yeah, it works.
And then someone else you say, no, just like you say, let me
Yeah.
just so you can feel it with a rubber band. It's completely
Yeah.
different, and it's like you say, different things work
Different
for
things
different
work for
people.
different people.
But I still like it when you just go, do me a favour, what's that? Just run! What? Now? Yeah, run! Then run. There you go. Done it.
Perfect.
Perfect. My job's
ticked.
done, I'm off for a tea. Oh, sorry, off for a tea.
Yeah, it's good, and we have we've got some very good, well-established runners, and we've got some brand new runners, and we've got people that just coming to have a go, and other people that are constantly injured, so they want to change what they're doing. So it's a lovely group.
It's
We've
a
got
really nice group.
group.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and we meet. Do you want to know when we meet? We meet.
When you meet,
Yeah, you can ask that question now.
Yeah. We meet in the corner of
Oh,
the
actually,
car
just
park.
before you went there.
Yeah. We meet in the corner of the car park at 9:15 every Thursday morning
Norfolk
for
Island.
9 for 9 Norfolk Island.
That's another story. I don't want to hear that one.
Ecclesall Discovery Centre, so Ecclesall Woods car park. We meet at 9:15 in the corner of the car park, and there's a huge great big crowd of us, and normally the car boot is open. And we meet there. We set off at 9:30, and we're normally done within an hour and 15 minutes, just in case people are wondering how long it goes on for.
Well, actually, it goes on beyond that, doesn't it?
Only when you're there.
No, because of the tea and coffee.
Oh, there is tea and coffee afterwards,
Yes.
but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've learned to kick me now. I can actually show the bruises if you want. You're going to finish now, Stu. Hurry up.
No, we have a lot of people that squeeze it in before work, so I shouldn't really be here. I shouldn't really be here. Yeah, I'm working from home.
Would you have quite a lot of
So
work?
we've managed to curb the time. It used to go on for a lot longer, so now it's an hour and 15 minutes, and then it's done. So it's all good.
And do people need to bring anything specific with them? You said it's a couple of quid, but other than that,
Trail trainers, and your first time is free. Perhaps a warm layer, which normally, if we are in one place, we will take off, but obviously weather dependent.
Sense of humour is good.
Oh, massive sense of humour. It's good, and be prepared to learn something new that you didn't know before.
Yeah.
So that's it.
every day's a school day.
Every day's a school day.
And then, I think unless you've got any other questions, we can finish with some quick fire ones.
Oh, I love the quick fire ones. Let's do
This
it.
is where I panic.
Yeah. Favourite place to run?
Oh, the Peak District every time.
Peak District.
You've just got hills.
It's got hills, I know. But I walk up those.
I live at
Get to the top. It's flat. Run.
Run, yeah.
Perfect.
I live at
Run the
bottom,
flats
bottom
and the
of
downs.
Blackpool.
Yeah.
I've had to get used to very hills.
You look really
hills
hills like got
yeah,
train
yeah.
on. Dundee. Flipping heck.
Blackpool Hill's my warm up. It's horrendous. But anyway.
Nice one.
Favourite running drill? probably quite specific to Woodrun, but
Ooh, I personally like the B-skip, and I do it before I go running every time, and it just gets everything awake before I set off. It gets everything working.
I like fours, which I think is sometimes called sea skip. We call it
Or
different
flamingos,
things, or flamingos,
Yeah, flamingos
or
and
hot water.
or
I like that.
I think
I think
the
that's
proper name's foot
yeah.
tucks.
Is it?
I think.
Because I think that's very good for transitioning you into your run. I think you're in the right sort of positions for that. So
See,
that's
we'd
my
both go
favourite one.
completely different again, wouldn't we? If it was you and I. Go on, what's yours?
either can or high knees.
You see,
Oh,
mine
I
be.
hate high knees. I hate high knees. Yeah.
See, I'd be ankling or angry balls, as we call them.
Those are your favourites.
Yeah.
Quite like fast feet as well. That's another quite good one. But
Yeah, it's
fours.
so many fast feet as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they are good fun.
I love shouting "breathe" in the middle of the room.
Yes.
So you can see me.
I'm gonna hold my yeah, you can see them go. We're gonna first time. We shouldn't laugh, but it is quite amusing when people have been for a while. They start to see it. You get people doing the drill for the first time, thinking, "Right, just want all you to engage your core. Squeeze their elbows into the chest. Don't move their arms. Don't forget to breathe."
The amount of times I say, "Relax your shoulders. It's all right. Relax. It's okay." So
I usually find when they do that because they're getting ready to thump me.
I mean,
Favourite post-run meal?
it's got to be beans on toast with cheese on top.
Oh, cheesy beans.
Cheesy beans.
Cheesy beans.
Cheesy beans on granary bread.
Actually, yes, I quite like that.
Really?
Oh, eggs. It's got to be eggs. We have chickens, so we have an abundance of eggs. So
Cheesy beans with an egg on top.
cheesy beans with a bit of scrambled egg, salty scrambled egg underneath. Oh.
Oh, yuck. Steak and chips.
Steak and chips. Oh no, definitely cheesy beans.
Yeah. not coffee and a cake, right? You've gone there.
I've not got a
Erica
sweet tooth.
was a cap at Discovery Centre to get cheesy beans and steak and chips on the menu now.
Just a girl in the back.
You'll go there next week and there they'll be. That'll be immense.
Yeah, or an omelette with
Are you listening, Erica?
beans on top.
Just something rich with beans. Just beans. Just a can of
Like a
beans.
7-egg omelette with beans on top, that's it. Oh.
What are chickens then?
Whether you listen to music or not, a song that you're digging at the minute?
Ooh. No, I can't answer that one because I like all kinds of music, but it depends what mood I'm in.
Right
Well,
now?
what mood are you in?
Yeah.
Well, that changes on a regular.
Yeah, but
Every
right
10
now-
minutes.
Go on, we're going to put something on right now. There's the CD player, what we're putting on. Actually, it's the record deck here.
I don't know, that's too hard, Hazel.
Well, I just listen to a kind of mix-up of whatever's on my iPlayer, whatever it's called, that you listen with. What do you listen with? I don't know. My iTunesy thing.
iTunesy.
So this morning there was a bit of Leonard Cohen,
Oh.
a bit of David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I have? And some there was some Cat Stevens in there as well. But
I like
as
Paul
Yusuf.
Simon. Paul Simon's another one I like listening to.
I don't choose specifically. I just whatever
Comes on.
Although the Fratellis are very good to run into.
That's a wide range you've got.
Yeah.
The Fratellis were at one point the sort of theme music for the Smileys.
Oh, I've got a favourite at the moment actually. It's Paolo Nutini. I really like
New
him.
shoes.
Any of them really. But I don't like running to with earpods in.
No, I won't
I
need to
can't
music.
stand that. A, I wouldn't as a female anyway, but that's a whole different story. But B,
It doesn't suit your ears, yeah.
Do you want to hit him or shall I?
If there was a scream and a loud squeaky thump, that's Harvey going over the banister.
it's alright, let it slide. Well, let it slide, lady. Let that one slide. He's young, he'll learn.
The hard way, I think.
No, don't. And also, I just feel like it completely dictates how you run.
Yeah.
And I don't like, I want to run how I want to run at the time, on whatever terrain I'm on.
That's why I have Leonard Cohen. You want me to go faster? Oh no.
That's out of hell, here we come.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
quite
doing that
nice.
one.
Slows it down a bit.
Pre-race, I probably listen to Born Slippy. I think that's the one. That's the one that I can't remember what's his name.
Wow. I'm going to have to go and find this now.
I'll take you downstairs. You'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know it when you hear it. But pre-race, I like to listen to that, but I don't listen to it when I'm running.
Nice. I think that wraps it up quite nicely.
Excellent.
Finish with your biggest achievement in running, or something you're most proud of.
I think I am. There are some obvious things that I've achieved. You know, I did a 50-mile ultra a little while back, and a 30-mile ultra, and a marathon all in the space of 2 months, which was tough, but I did it, and I finished better than I thought I would. So that should have been my proudest moment. But actually, my proudest moments are when I really, really haven't got the motivation to go for a run, and I really, really am not feeling it, and I'm feeling down, and I can't. And I actually feel really proud of myself just for taking that first step out the door. That's my proud moment for running.
Your greatest achievement.
My greatest achievements are every time I don't want to go for a run because I know a mile down the road I'll be loving it. So for me, that's my proud moment. Is when I get home, I think to myself, I didn't want to go this morning, I still went. That's a proud moment.
That's quite impressive. I don't do any races or anything because I absolutely hate them.
I'm a very sensible person.
So my greatest achievement, car to cafe without stopping to walk when I see the cafe approaching.
So you run all the way
So I'd be,
to the cafe.
I thought, no, I just, because I used to always say, oh look, there's a cafe, I can walk now. So if I can keep going to the cafe and
So
not
you
stop to walk.
don't break before the finish line. Is that what you're saying?
Don't break before the
finish line. Yeah.
Straight into that chair.
Straight into the chair, yeah.
Crash through the door.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm going to have done it, thank you.
The whole cafe goes silent, turns and stares at you.
There's Hazel. That's about it, yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Unless anyone's got anything to add.
No.
No, it's all good.
Thanks, Stuart, for giving us the opportunity.
Well, thanks for taking it on and
We love
making it
it,
happen.
and-
It's brilliant.
Yeah, and everybody welcome to Woodrun
Yeah, well, absolutely welcome to
on a
Woodrun.
Thursday, yeah.
No matter, how tired, how
Crab it.
correct, how good or bad you feel that morning, there is something for everybody. So you'll love it when you get there.
I had also heard we obviously get loads of compliments, but one of the best was the other day when somebody said the jokes had got better.
Yeah, it is very funny.
Which I thought,
Favourite joke?
Oh, I've got 2 little boys. Oh, what's brown and sticky?
Stick?
It just makes me laugh every time. That's definitely one of my favourites.
Yeah,
I can't repeat my other favourite.
how do we get to
Why
this?
are there no aspirin in the jungle? Because of paracetamol.
See, such simple people.
Simple people.
Simple minds.
Simple jokes.
well, I think that's how it's all that. You've got any jokes? Pop them in the comments below.
Yeah, please, if you've got any new ones.
Yeah.
New ones we can do.
Anything different, guys, I think. Wow.
No, that's it.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Brilliant, and keep up the good work, it's great.
Bye.
We love it. Bye.